So weird. Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for having me. Thank you, Elders Ann and Thomas. Thank you, Chancellor Southwell, President Brooks, Acting Dean Terashima, Dr. Rapport, Dr. Foran, faculty and staff for the invitation to speak today. This is a, frankly, extremely unexpected and tremendous honor, and I thank you for it. So let's get started. Bike lanes are really important, guys. Oh, wait, that's my speech from another part of today. I got confused. I'm sorry, I'm kidding. I'll come back to that. But first, my congratulations to the graduates. Look, your degree is a really big deal. This is your day. As you've seen over and over again today, we are all so proud of you. Now, the most important thing you need to hear from me right now is I have a 10-minute hard time limit. That's been emphasized repeatedly. So this has left me with a really challenging assignment. I'm not in class giving you a lecture. I'm not at the Shift conference. I'm not at a welcome event or an international student meet and greet. There's no PowerPoints, there's no handouts, there's no tests. So what was an appropriate way to help end your journey here at Dalhousie? And one of the weirdest things about telling people you're going to speak at Convocation is a lot of people have a favorite Convocation speech. I heard from people about Kurt Vonnegut at Syracuse in '94. I heard about Congressman John Lewis, who's I'm a huge fan of, in '19 at Georgia State. And a lot of people brought up Taylor Swift at NYU in '22. And so I watched the YouTubes. I went back and did the research, right? I came to two conclusions. One is, who the hell am I to compare myself to any of those people? And then the second was, what if I now accidentally plagiarize one of those speeches and I'm on stage at the university that I graduated from? I might as well have had the speech written by AI at that point. So instead, I thought about all the amazing interactions I've had with so many of you over the last few years, and I'm just going to try and speak to you from the heart. Now, you've reached the end of a phase. I remember what it's like. You put in the work, you've had your late nights, you've been to classes, you've handed in the assignments, and now you're literally sitting there with your degree in hand. If only the guy on stage would stop talking, you could go see your family. I know how much work you've put in. Over 3 decades ago, I started my undergrad in political science here at Dalhousie University, as thankfully Makiko mentioned. And back in the 90s, I was studying political science during the end of history. Now, if you don't know, that was a brief period of optimism where the great thinkers of the world thought that at the end of the Cold War, with the collapse of the Soviet Union, we would end up with global peace and prosperity for all. It hasn't worked out that way. Rather, we live in increasingly interesting times, and we're going to come back to that as well. So sure, I was studying foreign policy during the Cold War era. It wasn't super relevant to me when I became a politician at a municipal level, I will say that. But what was useful in that role and in all my varied careers was the soft skills, the interpersonal skills, the research skills, the Robert's Rules of Order I learned by being on the Dalhousie Student Union, the music I learned about at CKDU, the mentorship with professors, the friendships with students, that many of which continue to this day. This is a large part of what you've achieved. In addition to the degree you've earned here, a whole bunch of intangibles or less tangibles that will be incredibly useful to you for the rest of your lives. And not only have so many people influenced your journey and helped shape who you become these years, but you too will carry those friendships and relationships forward for the rest of your lives. Look, it is a huge compliment to complete any degree. You have every reason to be proud. Your parents and supporters, your friends and partners who are here today, they are so proud of you too. But also with challenge comes uncertainty, right? I sat up here and I looked at every one of your faces as you crossed the stage. Some of you had the card was shaking in your hands. Some of you, right up until they put the degree in your hands, looked like you thought they were going to figure out that some mistake had been made and take it away from you. And, that's not the case. It's time to get on with your next step. It's time to get on with your next adventure. You're at the end, but also at a new beginning. And I'm sure whatever you do next will be outstanding, and I know for many of you that uncertainty is challenging, and I want to speak personally about that for a minute. Look, if you asked me a year ago what my job would be right now and what I'd be doing, and if I'd be standing here, it would have been none of the things that are happening for me right now. But I landed in a great place. All transitions are stressful. All transitions are needful, but you will get through it. Stay grounded. Focus on the present. Trust in yourself, your capabilities. the education you just worked so hard to achieve. Work on your resilience. Be unafraid to ask for help when you need it. I know you've all got this. So I joked about bike lanes, right? It's a little bit, I literally got asked to speak at the rally today. I'm like, I'm going to Convocation, I can't. And I know that I'm in a room full of planners and architects, and I talked about living in interesting times. And as my favorite comedian, Tom Papa, says, interesting times can be scary times. So Vonnegut, in his speech, said, I apologize because of the terrible mess the planet is in, but it has always been a mess. There have never been any good old days. There's just days. And so, see how I did that? I cited Vonnegut, so now it's not plagiarism. Okay, so I love that quote because there was no time when things were perfect. I think that's important for architects and planners. There's always just some of us, or hopefully most of us, working hard to make things better as we can when we can. So let's reflect. We know on the planning side that we know on the planning side, I want to emphasize, that complete, green, resilient communities that are walkable, bikeable, have good transit, that's not a nice to have. They're essential to healthy, vibrant communities, a huge contributor to our climate goals. And on the architecture side, we know that things that are now under threat, like step-backs and setbacks and point towers and light and wind, and think about how buildings interact with the environment, how they interact with the ground level, how they interact with human beings. All those things are important. These are the considerations that can, should, and must overcome the view that the utilitarian lowest cost is always the best choice. And I know when you're in it, it's hard to see that generally things are progressing. I know at times it's hard to see when things that are important to you are losing ground. Progress is arguably, hopefully, a jagged line. But we know with jagged trend lines, it's sometimes hard to see which way it's going. It can be nerve-wracking. It can be scary. It can be demotivating when you're in a time where too often what you know in your heart, what your academic study has told you, is not valued and acknowledged as it should be. But in her speech, Taylor Swift said, there will be times in life where you need to stand up for yourself, times where the right thing is actually to back down and apologize, times when the right thing is to fight, times when the right thing is to turn and run, times to hold on with all you have, and times to let go with grace. At the end of the day, planning and architecture is about bringing beauty into the world for our communities, for our elders, for our children, for people who don't traditionally participate fully in society, for the vulnerable who are so often forgotten and left behind. It's about doing things based on evidence, based on facts, based on research, based on thoughtfulness, and based on empathy. Truth is beauty, and I would argue evidence-based decisions are truth, so they are beautiful. You may face tremendous pressures to do otherwise until this wave of populist, ill-conceived silliness abates. Stay true to who you are, what you've learned. Lean on your friends, lean on your family. Be kind and understanding. I know a lot of people are going to be telling you they don't want you to do what you know is right. I saw it every day in my last job. But those people often are stuck at the bottom of the algorithm, okay? They're in the fake bubble, the fake consensus. They don't have the background you have, or they're just, and this is the increasingly what I think, they're mad about something they should be mad about, but they don't know how to fix that thing, so they're mad about everything. Help meet those people where they're at. Approach it with empathy. We need to cast our nets wide so we make sure that our communities, our plans, our systems, our buildings, our parks, our transportation networks that we are planning today, that they're the kind of thing we can be proud to share with future generations. We all want to ensure justice, reconciliation, and accessibility for all, and you will now have a big part to play in that. But I'm not saying, and this is to the parents in the audience, that the very first day at the job you have to go to the barricades, okay? I'm not saying that. It's not always do or die, but remember who you are, remember what you've learned, and always seek to do the best you can. A very good friend and mentor of mine is fond of saying that perfect is the enemy of good. Don't lose sight of that. Don't lose sight of it. But also, don't give up. Don't give up your principles. To close, as Congressman John Lewis said, never give up, never lose faith. You must be bold and brave and find a way to get in the way and to get in good trouble. to get in good trouble. We're counting on you to do that. I've had the singular privilege of getting to know a great many of you, and I'm confident that you too will get into good trouble. I believe in you, we believe in you, we love you, we respect you, we are so happy for you today. We can't wait to see what kind of trouble you're going to get into, and I, for one, can't wait to see what you do next. Congratulations. Thank you. Merci. Wilalaya.